Hello everybody. Today I wanted to make a tier list for which skills I think will be the most useful in Castle Wars. Castle Wars is an update it's the next update coming out on 2004 Skate. So this tier list is hopefully going to help people who are considering what to level in preparation for it, and also solidify my own feelings for what I want to focus on before it comes out. So without further ado, we're going to do hit points, which is very useful for flag runner role, which is the most important role, the one who runs into the other castle and gets the flag and comes back. But it's also actively troll to level for tincading, which is a strategy where you put down barricades, set them on fire in order to prevent the enemy team from getting your flag. You want to keep your hit points at 15 or below if you're going to be the person on the team to do that. It's the most optimal thing because then you could drop an explosive potion to kill yourself after you get frozen or entangled. I don't know how many people are going to be using entangles on release. And it is really important for flag runner role. It's the most important stat, I would say, for flag runner role. So I'm putting it in A tier for now. Magic buffs every single skill, and I'll tell you why. Magic is important for flag runner role because it increases your magic defense, which increases the chance that an enemy will splash and entangle on you and you won't get frozen. It's also very important for defense because it's for catching entangles as well. So for that reason, it buffs every single role. It's also important for magic DPS. I'm not sure how important that is going to be because we have Black Dehide's very strong, so it's probably less important for DPSing role, but it does buff every role technically. Agility is useful for flag runner role again because if you get frozen you're gonna be recharging run, but it's not that important. Band-aids will heal 30 run per band-aid, and flag runners are probably gonna have an entire inventory worth of band-aids, so it's kind of a slight buff, but it's very minuscule. Defense would be the second or third most important stat for flag runner role. Again, just because you're taking more zeros and less hits. It's not really important for any other role because people won't be attacking you back if they're trying to get your flag generally. Fishing, I guess you could say it's kind of good for a resupply skill. I don't think it's that important. You can bring your fish into... You can bring cooked fish into Castle Wars on 2004, but Band-aids will heal 14 HP each, and they're free, so I think most people are going to be using them. But it is technically a buff over Band-aids per inventory slot for healing. Strength, I would say, is very important for PK defense or PK def roll, where you're just trying to kill people who are invading your castle. It's going to increase your KO potential, so it's pretty important for that. Thieving will be important for flag runner role because there's a door that you can pickpocket, or not pickpocket, lockpick. Sorry. You can lockpick a door, and your success chance on that scales based off your thieving level, so it is quite good for that. But you could also use a rope, so it really only saves you one inventory. Cooking, I would say it's actually more important than fishing for resupply skills because you could do pineapple pizzas, which would be the most healing per inventory slot, but it's still not that important for resupply skill. Crafting might be more important even, but it's still not that important. I guess it's good for recoil rings, which might be useful. It's good for dueling rings as well, which will help you teleport to Castle Wars, so that would be quite good, but it's not really that important. Smithing it'll be somewhat important as a resupply skill because you can make dart tips, you can make arrow tips, you can make knives, and then when construction comes out later, which is not until 2006, but whenever that comes out, it will be helpful for repairing Barrow's armor, which will be best in slot for pretty much every single role. Rune crafting actually will be probably one of the more useful resupply skills, because you can make your own air runes at a pretty good rate. Once you get multiple runes per air runes, you could also make fire runes at a pretty good rate. You could also make your own nature runes, which will be good for entangles, but I don't know how many people are going to be doing that either. But it's a good option for a resupply skill. If you're just looking for total levels, that will help you with Castle Wars. Mining will offer you a buff in Castle Wars. There is a boulder in the tunnel that you can explode or mine. So you just have a pickaxe to mine that rock. And you can also use the same boulder to insta-kill anybody who's under it, which is a really classic strategy. Range will probably be the most important DPS skill, I would think. I would imagine a lot of people will be using Black Dragonhide to lower their freeze chance, and range will pierce through that pretty good. Because range is so important. Fletching will be quite important as a resupply skill too. Well, it's not that important actually. It'll be good for making your own arrows, making your own dart tips, if you're using darts. Prayer. I would say prayer buffs every roll, because Flag Runner, it increases the time you can have overheads for. It also lets you do Steel Skin for 15% more defense. It also buffs your DPS if you're like melee DPS for PK def. And when Smite comes out, it's going to buff every defensive roll as well with Smite. So it's really worth training. Herblore is probably the most important resupply skill right now. There's no Castle Wars brew. You're going to have to use your own potions for Castle Wars if you want the buff from potions. If you want the maximum DPS, you're going to need to use a superset or a ranging potion. If you want the most defense, you're going to need a super defense, or I guess you could use Excalibur. But it's going to be a really important resupply role if you're trying to Iron Man all your supplies and not buy any from any other players. Fire making I don't think is helpful at all in any way. Yeah. Also wood cutting is not helpful at all in any way. Farming is not in the game yet, but when it does come out, I think it will be the most important resupply role or resupply skill, because you can really reasonably do herb runs in between games of Castle Wars. There's a 5-minute wait between games. And that'll be enough time for you to do a quick lap of herb runs if you want to keep up your own supplies for the game. But that doesn't come out until 2005, so that's quite a ways away still. Construction also isn't out yet. I don't think it'll be useful in any way. But it's not out until 2006, so it's going to be a long time before we see that in the game. Attack, I would say, is maybe more important than strength for PK defense or PK def roll, because you can put on poison onto enemies, and I think most of the Flag Runner rolls are going to be 126, 120 plus max mains with a lot of defense. So that poison damage over time, I think, will be more useful than having a high strength level and just rolling zeros on their defense. But we'll see. Hunter, not in the game yet. And even when it does come out, I think it will be not helpful at all. We can get chins and dragon arrows from it, but it's like, would you even use that in Castle Wars? I think not. So it's staying and not in the game yet. And Slayer, also not in the game yet. But when it does come out, it might be just barely useful for the gear that you get in it. You can get Slayer Staff for Magic Dart, which might be a good budget option for Magic DPS. You can also get Broad Arrows. That might be a good budget option for ranged DPS. But only time will tell. So for now, it's staying not in the game yet. And that's the video. Thank you for watching. I look forward to playing Castle Wars with you all soon. Goodbye.